awaits you in the future. You mean the past? Exactly.
Hello tribe, Heba here once again. Today's podcast topic is reincarnation. So this is a very contentious topic. I will try to be as clear as I possibly can. I encourage you to listen to this with an open mind and be, as I said, discerning. Feel free to accept or reject what does not feel right within your own soul. Welcome again, and my first question is this. If you knew what was definitely in the afterlife, would you choose to come back on planet Earth and face the reality of the mass events that are taking place right now, the fear, the subjugation, the strong control of certain factions over others, or would you choose to go back to your true source, to where you come from, to the place of birth, to oneness with source creator? What would you choose? Mind you, if you choose to come back, you will be helping many other people awaken. If you do not, you go back to source creator, where you can remain there in spirit form, and you have a lot more freedom and completely liberated from the cycle of birth and death, and the pains and aging and the process that goes along with having a mortal body. So I think most of us would opt for the latter, to go back to oneness with our source creator. That's certainly what I would be choosing, and what I would be ensuring that I do with every fiber of my being in any way possible. And it's not that I have an aversion to living here on Earth. I do enjoy my purpose, I do enjoy what I do, and I love the people that I'm with, and it brings me a lot of joy to be here, experiencing life with other life forms. I love Earth. I love what it's got to offer me and what I've got to offer Earth and humans and mankind and all life forms, animals and plants. Now, that's not the issue. The issue is, would you come back knowing that you could be trapped in what is perceived as an incarnation or reincarnational loop? So most people would rather not. So now the next question is reincarnation avoidable? Is reincarnation inevitable? Is it necessary that we reincarnate? Well, we've got to ask ourselves if life on Earth is intended to be that way, if it's intended to be cyclical, if it's intended to be a loop. I mean, we do look around us and everything seems to be in a loop, isn't it? We see plants, trees go into cycles, birth, death, and rebirth. We have been taught by religion that some religions do teach reincarnation as part of their belief system, that we die only to come back and revisit all our past experiences, aversions and likes and dislikes, and and to face them again, especially if we have karma. You have to come and learn your karma again. And so these ideas are pushed on us from a very young age. I'm aware that there's some religions that do not believe in reincarnation, but I'm talking about these systems of beliefs out there that do support the idea that we are not intended to come here and live till 60, 70, 80, 100 years max and then die, and that's the end of us. Most do promote the notion and belief that we are meant to come back for evolution of our soul. We're meant to come back. So that seems to give people a lot of hope, and there's something in it. It's it's consoling, I guess, that we are not just going to die and disappear and go back to space dust, but we're going to come back intact and profound and bring ourselves back to a new life, a new chance, a new lease of life, new hope, and a new us. So that's been a very welcomed idea for a very, very long time. And it's put a lot of people in peace of mind, I guess. But then we've got to think outside of the box, and we're going to, we need to take our mind further. And the next question is, what would it be like to not be stuck in this reincarnational loop? I'd like to take you back to how life on Earth was prior to reincarnation beginning. Life on Earth was indeed not intended to be caught in this loop with a frenzied cycle of death and immediate reincarnation. It was devised and it was intended to take place by you as the creator of your own fate, of your own destiny. And it was intended as an occasional visitation, an excursion, if you like, which would be considered an enlightening experience during the entire progression while you're on Earth, and leading to new experimentation and learning, so new set of experiences that you come here to fulfill. And it gives you soul purpose and evolution, because you come here and you further activate your DNA, and that, expands you as a soul. Now, before the reincarnation cycle began, and I won't go into the reincarnation cycle when that began from Keylontic science and MCEO perspective, I will leave that for another podcast. But before that, prior to that, the Yanis, which are a race of, if you like, original spiritual masters, they're considered avatars, who many of us are a part of, by the way. They are still here existing amongst us, and in our consciousness we're still part of their collective. And like I said, they're ascended masters who were born out of the wheel of time, and they do not experience mortality, aka biological death. They were born eternal and not intended to be stuck in an incarnational loop, not even having a body that made of carbon, primarily, that would undergo decay, aging, degeneration, and that sort of thing. So they weren't meant to reincarnate at all, because they were eternal beings who would just exist eternally and have the ability to travel interdimensionally as high or as low as they'd like to, and within their own, exercising their own free will. But there were certain events that happened over time that led to DNA mutation, and when their DNA became mutated, or some of the DNA became mutated, over time Yanis got trapped into a reincarnational cycle. And that's a tragic thing right there, is that eternal life then became trapped into what is called a reincarnational loop. See, eternal life is our birthright, and it's our innate power. We have that power, and that power is eternal life. And where originally Yanis, they're meant for eternal existence, but that DNA mutation caused that fallen consciousness to take place. This fallen consciousness can come back, relive the experiences, and build DNA strands back again. Now, some tribes existing till today, and some are coming back to help with the bio-spiritual regenesis process. Yanis are one of these tribes that have come from the inner ecosystems, come here to help restore DNA. They came first during the time of Atlantis to help the bio-regensis of the human genetics. only to be invaded and wiped out by the Thothian army. Yes, that's attributed to Thoth and his army, who are considered the Luciferian army. They stole their CDT plates and the information used that is meant to be liberating humanity from this incarnation loop. So they stole that information and used it against the human population. It caused conflicts, a lot of conflict on Earth, and still till now, we were faced with what is called the destiny with the Illuminati, which all goes back to those days from Atlantis and before that, but I'm only going back, just a fraction. If we were to look at time as being this, field of existence that really has no beginning and no end, because time doesn't exist the way we think it does exist. It's, time exists like timestamps. We only measure time when there is an experience of something happening, and it's not linear. So yeah, time's another contentious topic here, so I'll keep that one aside for now. But yeah, this is basically the drama that's ensuing and has ensued and still unfolding now, all mainly from time of Atlantis, when the Yanis were raided by the Thothian army and basically erased and wiped out. And hence the Yanis got trapped since then into this reincarnational loop. So this drama was caused by the fallen consciousness, who refuse to acknowledge that they're part of something great, something much bigger, something eternal, who we refer to as God Source or Creator. And so they insist on being a part of an unnatural artificial system, like an AI system right now, which they've created, by the way, so that it can sustain them. Because if there's nothing artificial to sustain them and they can't connect to the eternal life, then they're gone. So many chose through free will to be a part of the artificial technology timeline instead of an organic flame body inner technology, so that they can ascend consciousness. These inner technologies were given to us by these CDT plates, were intended to restore our genetics back to its original blueprint. So these CDT plates contain very valuable information for us so that we can restore our genetics original templating using the frequencies of D12 and above. So if you're wondering how you can access those flame body activations, we have been given those through MCEO teachings in Keylontic Science in 1998 through Ashiana Dean, who is also an Iani and represents the Iani tribe, and she has graciously given this knowledge, which is not hers. They're interpreted from the CDT plate, and there's another video on my channel that you can listen to in regards to this topic. I think it's called MCO Origins. Yeah, something like that anyway. So what would you choose? Would you choose eternal life, or would you choose the AI timeline and just continue to exist and do nothing to really become activated? This is the next question. So there is also another concept out there promoted by the New Age teachings, which is partly true but not entirely, is that we are getting activated. We don't need to do anything right now. The frequencies alone are enough to activate us, and we're going into this new heavenly-like world, and we're going to be okay, and everything's going to be rosy, and the golden age is here, and no work to be done, nothing whatsoever. And this is not true. I completely disagree with this. The genetic alteration of our original DNA template has actually gone from 12 strands, double helix, 12 strands to 2 strands, and this is the reason why we are incarnating over and over and over in this cube matrix, which is pulling the old earth to hell, basically. And hell is a place. It is called the phantom matrix. It is a matrix where everything's running on an artificial timeline in an inorganic templating. So basically energies are running in reverse, and this is what we refer to as hell, and maybe phantom matrix, maybe if you like to call it the black hole system. Any of these terms are accurate and accurately describe this place. So it's nothing to fear. It's just, it is what it is. It's a shedding of the layers that are not longing to go back to source, if you like. And that's it's by free will, by the way. It's free will. It's not like these factions of consciousness that are fallen are getting punished. It's they chose their own destiny. They chose to pull away from God Creator and go the opposite way. So they're running in a reversal matrix where they're feeding on each other. They're feeding on artificial light. They're feeding on artificial energy. They're feeding on technology. Yes, technology. So technology is sustaining them. You know, there is artificial light system that they feed off. There is the beast system using technology of the wormholes. And yeah, there's many more. There's a lot to name. So they're using these technologies in order to feed, to sustain themselves off it, and continue with their life for however long it can sustain them. But eventually, it's a system that it's damned. Basically, it's a system that cannot. That it's got a time limit basically, and it's not going to be eternal. It's the opposite of eternal. So it's mortal. Just as we experience life here, we come here, we live for a number of years, and then off we go. We shed the body and we go off to experience another form of reality. And so, yeah, that's basically the system they've chosen. Now, this system is called the wizard deck because it's through the arc black hole wormhole systems. It is the hell depicted in Heraser's cube that configures into a Templar 666 axion seal, which is a reverse pentagram that traps consciousness into a electrostatic. So it's electrical and it's static, okay, and it's an electrostatic body that sustains itself from its own energy. It's not connected and it's not plugged into source until that system becomes finite and goes back to space dust. So we will always remain, no matter where we are and what we've chosen, we will always be a part of God's source, because we're basically living in that consciousness of the eternal. We're not separate, even though we may be, you know, some souls would choose phantom matrix, but they're still part of God consciousness no matter where they are. And eventually they recycle back into space dust, only to start again as primal life all over again. We've been conditioned that death is a normal process. If we want to really invigorate our physical body and prolong its life, then we have to look at practices that do prolong the energy, the prana, and even awaken our kundalini, and let that run our physical vessel so that we can prolong the life of the physical vessel, so that we can learn more experiences, integrate more, and upgrade our DNA. So being in a physical body is actually a privilege to help us to evolve our consciousness. It shouldn't be looked at as a punishment, rather a privilege and an honor to be here. Now, sexuality and spirituality are actually one and the same, but thanks to religion and some of the other belief systems out there, namely the Black Cube Matrix program, sexuality has been disassociated and severed completely from the spirit by being labeled an act of sin. And that's so that people do not access their sexual body, which is the same as a spiritual body, because they're both run by the same energy. And so that way, you know, people don't evolve, and they continue to come here feeding that beast system that's been intentionally set up to siphon every bit of prana and life force out of us. So healthy sexuality rebuilds DNA and helps you ascend biologically, and this includes sexuality with yourself as well. So we don't have to find a sexual partner. We can do that with our own bodies, and we can use that sexual, spiritual energy to evolve, to help us evolve and activate our DNA. Now, the pertinent question is, can we exit the reincarnational cycle from the position that we're in right now? Like I said before, the plasma body activations are D12. D means dimension, so 12-dimensional pre-matter hydroplasmic liquid light frequencies is a D12 frequency, and this has been shut off from us for thousands and thousands of years, only to be brought back on I think it was January the 1st. Anyway, in January 2000, and that was the day that we received and had access to, not received, because received implies that we have integrated the energies. It was available to us, it was made available to us through the grid works of consciousness of Earth. It was made available to humanity so it can help us evolve to the next level required for our evolution. We have the opportunity to exit the fallen Earth cycles, aka reincarnation. We have that ability if we know how, if we have those techniques, if we have guidance, and if we are willing to. That's the most important factor here, is if we are willing, because, you know, believe it or not, there are people that are not willing to. No matter how much you try and, you know, help them or show them, they're comfortable where they are, and they're content with the fact that they will be coming back to experience life, as it were, all over again. I want to mention here, there's a whole set of technology called the Metatronic technology, and that's considered, or not considered, but it's actually running on the Beast 666 frequencies, because it's artificially induced light refractions to trap you in an artificial light system. Now, there's two names that you need to, actually three, Thoth, Archangel Michael, and Metatron. They're the three soul collectives. So they may also be actual individual souls named Thoth, Archangel Michael, and Metatron. But they're mainly collectives, soul collectives. You know, just like we have tribes, we have soul collectives. They're running their tribes, or collectives I should say, because tribe implies more of a love bonding sort of thing, but this is more of a control system and that type of bonding, you know. And they're orchestrating something called the Beast system, the artificial light, and also the fire sword initiations, mainly blue sword frequencies by Archangel Michael, which is a reverse 13D system that uses artificial light, and the initiations that run through our planet Earth right now, that inverts everything. So if you look at the inverted agendas that are happening, just take a look at Hollywood, take a look at you know, many parts of the world where there's wars and things like that, basically where you see a fear system, a polarity system, a control, heavily controlled, like religion. Look at Saudi Arabia. Look at the black box or the black cube. This is all run on reversal energies that are meant to control and siphon every bit of energy that you have left, especially if you're a human, if you carry human genetics, pure human genetics, and if you're an indigo child especially. If you're an indigo, they're after you. So you need a lot of spiritual hygiene and protection. Please do that. Please don't take this like it's fear-mongering, because it's not, but it's just out of caution. Protect your template. Protect your template. So important. If you want to maintain your connection to eternal life, you need to protect your template. Natural divine blueprint life is based on that 12 ecosystem and organic and natural energies. And the Kathara template is actually a very good illustration of the 12 base system. But the reverse to that is the 13D system, or the one they use in Kabbalah, which is based on 10 or 11, I can't remember, but it's missing a lot of parts and it's running in reversals. So be very careful about where your energy is going and what you've been made believe out there, because a lot of it is built on manipulation in order to take you down the wrong way so that you can be food, a loose energy for someone else. We are at the end of that old cycle. We're shedding all the old parts, the old paradigms that no longer serve a purpose, and we can absolutely choose to exit the reincarnational loop by reclaiming our ancient ascended master template, who we truly are. And you listeners, I'm pretty sure most of my listeners would be indigos, humans, would carry ascended master template. And so you need to protect your template and your DNA. Do not take it for granted. Make sure that who you're listening to, who you're giving energy to, is of this I don't want to call it belief system. It's not a belief system, but belongs to this order that we're trying to promote here, and that's the Melchizedek Cloister Emerald Order. Because we don't want reversals. We've had millions and billions of years. I'm just going to say millions because billions seems incomprehensible. Millions of years of reversal systems running through our gridworks of consciousness, whether through the earth or through us. Now we have the access to those D12 energies that we haven't had for a very long time. So now's the time. Now is the time. Now is the time to do the work. Please don't procrastinate and wait. There is no time like this time that we're in right now. It's so precious. We're here for this purpose. We're here to reclaim what is originally our birthright. We're here to reclaim those lost pieces of ourselves. We want these back. So what do we need to do to avoid the reincarnational loop? What must we do now moving forward? Ascended masters expanded their frequencies to integrate the Christ consciousness so they can forego their mortality and reincarnation. So then life becomes a matter of choice rather than a karmic necessity. So to achieve ascension through enlightenment means not having to do it all over again. And this time, this date, now, we must begin now. We must forego mortality and reincarnation by exiting the karmic loop, so that we are not bound to karma, cause and effect. If you don't want to call it karma, that's okay. Call it, give it a scientific name or a more universally accepted name. Let's call it the law of cause and effect. It's one of the universal laws of nature. It means every action has an opposite reaction. So what you put out is what you get. If you're hurting people, you're going to be hurt. So this is what you need to remember, is if you want to liberate yourself from the cycle of incarnation and reincarnation, then you need to think about the karma that you're accruing while you're here in this form, this incarnation. So, have a journal, write down everything that you're doing every day, and just see how you're going with that, because you might be doing things that are bonding you to this karma. It's still part of your consciousness, and you need to clear this karma so that you don't have to come back and learn these lessons again. The first worthy lesson that we should remember is to remember not to reincarnate back on earth again, because when we die, when we shed the physical body, we go into the afterlife, okay, which is still life, but commonly people know it as afterlife, and we are faced with the question, do you want to go back? And then people will opt to go back because of many reasons, but one of them is karma, another one is attachment to something or someone, something that hasn't been done. And then people will opt to say yes. You need to remember to say no, I do not want to go back. Okay, so that's a very important thing, is remember to not reincarnate back on earth again. So like I said before, working on that residual karma developed and stored within your soul while present on earth, clear and cleanse yourself readily without the need for reincarnation, and that purported correcting the errors of your past life and present lives thing, So move past that. Consider the fact that some of the karma imposed upon you is actually falsely planted within your genetics by the gatekeepers of these parasitic energies and vampires who have held you in bondage for a long time here. This is something you need to do. You need to clear yourself from these implants, and I'll get to that in a minute. Think about where your what your emotional body is at. What's the state of your emotional body right now? How do you feel about yourself? Do you love yourself? Do you have self-loathing? Do you have a guilty consciousness? Do you have shame? Do you have fear? Do you have low self-esteem? Do you lack love for yourself or lack for others? How are you feeling? Are you always worried about security? Are there things that you're very delusional about? Is there some sort of mental, emotional, psychological spiritual problem that's deviating you from the truth? Are you using escapism rather than facing the truth of the reality, as it were? You need to answer these questions for yourself with utmost honesty and integrity. You need to be very candid about how you feel and where you're investing your energy. And start working on some of those. Start working with, I'm not promoting my courses here, but I've developed a 9-week course that deals with this to help people on an emotional and mental level so they can reactivate those mutated DNA and learn about energy, where they're investing their energy, because where your energy goes, where your attention goes on a daily basis, that's where your energy goes. And you'd rather keep that energy for you rather than, dissipate your energy into the environment that surrounds you. So you always want to take parts of you, want to reclaim those parts of you that belong to you. And there's a way to do that. There's a method, and I won't go into it, but one of those is to exit the victim-victimizer programming. Another one is to remove implants put in your body. So there's a lot of ways to do this, and I won't go into that now, but I'll have a whole 9-week course on this. If you're interested, check out my YouTube channel and website. So we need to be very careful about the delusions and any psychological problems, mental problems that really have no real reason, because they're considered implants. So you need to remove those from your field. You need to clear miasma so that you can have a clear auric body. And that, to clear your auric body and remove implants, means you're freeing yourself from the necessity to come back and be stuck once again in that reincarnational loop. So like I said, I have the course that will teach you how to clear Jehovian implants and from the axiotonal lines in the body, activate radial, auric, and Hoover bodies using plasmic activations given to us by Keylontic Science and MCEO teachings. These implants, just want to make a note here that these implants sometimes can feel like we're being possessed by what is commonly known as demons. But since there is no actual hell like it's been described to us, you know, like fire and demons and things like that, that doesn't exist, then these are just extensions of our field when there's a lot of implants and miasms in our auric field, and they come to us, they're basically reflecting what's inside. To the outer eyes, they look like they're external, but they're an extension of our own consciousness. So we need to clear those from our own morphogenetic field, so you know, then they'll go away, and we practice necessary spiritual hygiene to keep these out of our field, and then start working on raising this energy upwards through the chakras all the way up to the 15 dimensions. The second thing that we need to remember, so the first one was about clearing miasma and clearing our karma. The second one is, I just want to say one thing before I mention the second one, is that our genetic DNA structure is very rich in sensing a wide spectrum of emotional frequencies. This is why we make good prey victims for these energetic vampires that control and imprison us. And what they've done is they've managed to get access to our DNA because we were under subjugation, and they forced the genetic experiments onto us. They forced themselves to the feminine womb, implanted their genetics in us, and so we have these parasites that live as part of our body and energetic field. And they've been actually programmed to sense fear and anxiety. So we're in this cycle of reincarnation, stuck in this cycle, and also always feeling fear and anxiety. You know, most people are. The sensation is biologically in place, been put into the vagus nerve, which is an artificially induced system or organ, I should say, and the endocrine system, which makes up our glands as well. And it gets stimulated by certain frequencies. For example, the moon cycles. So certain frequencies are connected to the endocrine glands and the reproductive organs of a woman. These release hormones that trigger anxiety and fear. And so, yeah, it's a cycle of, you know, sadly, a cycle of disempowerment that we're stuck in. They, as invaders, they perfected their skills, and they've managed to get access into our morphogenetic fields thanks to the New Age teachings for teaching us how not to protect ourselves energetically the proper way using D12 energy, and thanks to religion that taught us to give our power fully to some priest or a rabbi or sheikh. We have a predicament here, and the predicament is we lost power and access to our own inner powers and abilities, which were and still are our birthright. So when we're unhappy, angry, under a spell of a low chakra energetic stimulus, these energy parasites move in and amplify and promote these sensations in us, dropping us in pits and trap us further, propelling us in a circle of vortex or discontentment and unhappiness to a point where we keep thinking with this really mediocre energy draining activities, and you know, people revert to drinking, becoming alcoholics, drugs, futile social events and things like that, just to fill a little bit of that void because they're stuck in that reversal system. So we need to, that's the second point that I'm getting to here, is number 2 is becoming aware of where we're investing our energy on a daily basis, our emotional body, our chakras, knowing exactly where we are in a reversal system, and you would know that if you were to meditate upon each of your chakras in your body, the 7 in your body, and then go to the 8 which exist outside of the body and learn to tap into those. And Keylontic science, MCO teachings offer great teachings in respect to that, to be able to access those inner powers of your chakras. Super important, because in New Age, you know, like the yogic system, which I love, by the way, but it's limited. It only teaches up to 7 dimensions. So every chakra is a dimension. So that's what it teaches. And also yogic science, I found that it doesn't teach you the correlation between one and the next, or between the inner and the outer, the galactic and the planetary. So these 3 spirals, they must be accessed by every person that wishes to reach a higher state of enlightenment and gnosis and liberate themselves from the reincarnational loop. If you activate the 7, you may get good on a, you know, you may have certain powers and access to certain energies on this this solar or lower, maybe planetary, but you won't have access to the galactic history and your galactic powers, which are part of your, you know, they're part of you. You're part of the bigger thing, and a bigger thing is a part of you. Macro and micro are very intertwined. So when you're separating the 8 chakras from the 7, what you're doing is you're severing a part of you from existence. You're keeping it at bay while you're activating here. The other part is just sitting dormant. So we need to start tying and bonding and reintegrating and joining things together to become avatars again. So learn where your emotions are going and the state of your emotional and mental body, and work on that. If you can't do it on your own, get guidance, get the right guidance. And most important thing is to guard your aura with everything possible. Do not fall for the impulses and the emotions that lead to depletion of these divine energies stored within your DNA template. Try not to participate in these futile, empty, irrelevant activities. You know, I have a lot of people in my circle who, in my sacred group, we learn together, and I guide them and help them. I'm fortunate to be in that position to guide other people, although I do also have my own teachers. So while I'm teaching them, I find that they're sort of in 2 minds. They want to be here activating, but they also want to do, all these, big concerts and follow celebrities, and, and I find that is, that in itself is a recipe for disaster, because while you're activating here, you're taking that same sacred energy and shedding it over there. So you think you're doing the work, but you're not. And then that's a recipe for disaster, because then you become delusional about, oh, I'm activated, I'm spiritual, I'm this, I'm that. But then you're not, because you're using that sacred energy in a very futile way, following these impulses, those lower level impulses and emotions. And also the same with casual sexual activity, where a woman or a man give themselves away to just about anybody just to get that pleasure in the moment. And that's something also you need to look at, is how you're investing this sexual energy and your spiritual energy, and ensure that it's nourished and cultivated and not dissipated. And then the last thing I want to say is very important, is to learn how to become a creator. So this is number 3, is learn how to become a creator of your own reality, just by learning how to move your point of perception internally. So if you're using those plasma body activations, it will teach you a lot about visualization and centering your energy at specific parts in your body. So you need to learn that focus if you really want to liberate yourself from, even just to, liberate yourself from experiencing suffering on this plane of existence. It's a good thing to be able to visualize, to be able to focus your energy and concentration on one thing. So please learn how to become a creator of your own reality and learn how to focus your point of perception internally rather than externally. So don't pay attention too much to what's happening on the outside. Create your own reality within and let that reality within create your reality without. And then manifestation follows. Manifestation becomes creation as you move from dream state into realized state. So I hope this video was helpful and shed some light on reincarnation. Please ask any questions you have in comments, like and share, subscribe. And yeah, thanks again for being here. Much love.
Exactly.